What up YouTube, it's Missouri's Company. In today's video, we're looking at the Barbarian. More specifically, we're looking at the Barbarian best farming build for Inferno 1 and above. And let's get straight to it, guys, because honestly, I think a lot of people have already heard of this build, so I'm not going to waste your time. But if you haven't heard of it, it's definitely one of the best, probably top 3 farming builds in all of Diablo Immortal. And since farming, overworld farming is going to be something you're going to be doing for probably 90, well, maybe not 90, but like 70% of your time to be in, if you're being really min-maxing your productivity, you should really be using a character or a toon or a class that, well, does it fast. And this build does just that. So let's get straight to it. All right, so first we're going to showcase the build in action, and then we'll break down the build itself, and then we'll go into some of the essences that you could do to improve the build as well later on. So let's get straight to it. Really, your goal is to just sprint full blast, which is just going to be dropping all these fun tornadoes and the flames behind us. And then you can see I'm already losing some downtime, but immediately comes back up within 3 seconds. Running a quick little circle, and then these guys are all going to die. Love it, love it, love it. And then we can rush into it, wait for the cooldown, and then boom, got a cooldown there. Make sure all these mobs are together. And yeah, that's basically your build. It's one of the builds that you can definitely improve upon. My Wrath of the Berserker does not have the right essence on it currently. The one you want is going to be the one, it's a main hand that actually makes it so you can basically just destroy everything and it just turns on fire. So it's pretty sick, honestly. But honestly, if you haven't seen my other video where I talk about the Barbarian as a whole, I don't feel great about it. Like I said, I know this build isn't completely finished, but it's been rough. Like it's not been an enjoyable experience to me. It's definitely a type of class that you have to prefer to play, but it just feels weaker, especially going from the Blood Knight. But honestly, the build is pretty mindless. You literally only need 2 essences, but there are more essences that you can use to make it even better. So let's go ahead and just finish this mob, and then we will check out the build itself. And like I said, several content creators have already covered this. I mean, DM even covered this back when he was still covering Diablo Immortal. This build has been around for a while, but this is a class that I have not played on in a pretty substantial amount of time, so I did want to make sure I at least covered this build first before I got to some of the fun ones. And I do have a juicy one for our single target and PvE like dungeon build, which we'll get to a little bit later. But let's go and teleport to the armory so we can showcase the build and some of the essences you're going to need, and then some of the essences that I don't have that you could use to make it even better. Let's get straight to it. All right, so the build is as follows. Like I said, there's really only 2 essences that you absolutely need. Everything else is really just beneficial, and then there's other essences that you can do to make it a little bit better. So for the skills themselves, I use Frenzy as the primary attack. I use Whirlwind, Furious Charge, which is kind of just personal preference. I'm not really buffing it at all. Again, just one that makes it a little bit better. Wrath of the Berserker, which is a must, and then Sprint, which is obviously the bread and butter of this entire build. For the headpiece, we're using the one that Sprint also leaves tornadoes in your path that deal 3,269 damage to any enemies they strike. And then the shoulders is the other really important piece. Sprint also leaves a trail of flames, dealing 8,136 damage to enemies over 4 seconds. Now I'm going to show you the rest of my current build. This is another good piece, which is the legs. So Sprint now also increases movement speed for nearby allies, but the only reason we're using this is the Awakening, which is Sprint cooldown decreased by 10% because I am using a Blessed Pebble, which I would highly recommend. It's a 1-star gem, very easy to get to max rank 10, which would also help you in Awakening this slot if you haven't already. But basically increase the duration of beneficial effects on you by 12%, which is a pretty noticeable amount. And then obviously the cooldown speed doubles up on the main skill that we're trying to utilize. Now, the chest piece, I'm doing Whirlwind pulls in all enemies it damages, which is not an ideal one. It does work as sort of a filler. And then for 3 of these main hands, we are using ones that are all about Frenzy in case you ever need to use Frenzy. So when Frenzy is fully stacked, each attack unleashes 3,677 damage to all enemies in front of you. Cannot occur more often than once every 0.4 seconds. And then when Frenzy deals a critical hit, your primary attack speed is increased by 50% for 2 seconds. And then Frenzy increases damage you deal to that enemy by 6% for 3 seconds, stacking up to 30% increase, which is pretty huge on a single target, which sort of sneak peek at a single target build, right? And then the last one is Wrath of the Berserker now increases critical hit chance instead of attack speed, which goes hand in hand with some of these crit ones. All right, now let's go ahead and look at the essences and which ones I would switch out if I had them. Like I said, the chest piece is not one that I would recommend. So whoops, I need to go to not inherit extract, and then chest piece. Whirlwind occasionally throws out tornadoes. That's the one you're going to want. It's called Ferocious Gale. Whirlwind occasionally throws out tornadoes that deal damage to any enemy they strike. So again, as you are sprinting, you can then also tornado or whirlwind to summon tornadoes to then also benefit from the firestorm, which is doing a lot of crits. So that's the chest piece I would definitely recommend. Pants, I don't think there's a better option, but let's just go ahead and double check. Yeah, I kind of like the one that we're using. Okay, so for main hand, I don't believe there was any, but we're just going to double check. Whirlwind now causes you to spin and charge forward. No, Whirlwind now, okay, this is actually it. This is it right here. Whirlwind now draws on the power of wind to deal increased damage while no longer reducing your movement speed. So basically, your Whirlwind will also be a Firestorm, which is pretty amazing, and that would actually be a really, really good one to have, but it was an essence that I never was able to pick up currently, but it would make the build that much better. So that's a main hand again, and then there's really no other ones. You can use one of the Frenzy ones that I'm already using. And then for the offhand, I think there was only one that I wish I had. Maybe not, actually. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Sundered Legacy. Wrath of Berserker now causes nearby enemies to burn. So it literally just does AoE damage, which is then going to also help with your overall damage as well as your Firestorm for both your Whirlwind as well as your Sprint. Overall, this build is very well known, I would think, and I don't have it on my channel, but I did want to go ahead and basically put it on my channel so that way if anyone hasn't seen it, you can now do so. And if you want to see a really, really awesome, fully essence out single target build for the Barbarian, make sure you smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and smash the like button, which shows me that you are interested in it, because I do have one fully essenced out, ready to go, and actually made the Barbarian feel strong again, believe it or not. This one, again, a little lackluster because I am missing some essences, but again, it's the Barbarian is not in a great spot as a whole right now, but this is still a build that has, you know, lived as long as, well, Hell 6 probably. So until next time, guys, lock it in and smash that subscribe button if you want to see the single target Barbarian build, which makes the Barbarian feel strong again. See you later.